Hi guys, it's Mrs. Delarme again. So yesterday we learned how to find the volume of a rectangular prism. We found the area of the base, which was a rectangle, and we multiplied it by its height. And then we shortened it to come up with a formula that was just length times width, which is the base, times the height. So it was length times width times height. Well, if you remember back to finding the area of a triangle, remember we took the area of a base, which is base times height, and then we divided it by 2 to find a triangle. I want you to keep that in mind, and we're going to use that information to find the volume of a triangular prism. But we're going to start with conceptually. So conceptually, what we're going to do is, again, we're going to find the area of the base and then multiply it by how many layers there are to find the volume inside of this triangular prism. Well, the base is a triangle, so we have to find the area of this base, the triangle, and then we have to multiply it by how many triangles there are inside of here, or the layers. So there are 6 layers of that triangle. So that means there's like 6 triangles inside of here. So you can see the top and the bottom, that's 2. And then there's like another 4 in here. So first we're going to find the area of the base of the triangle. So to find the area of a triangle, that's base times height divided by 2. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So base times height divided by 2. So 3 is the base of the triangle. The height of the triangle is 4, so that's 3 times 4. And then we're going to divide that by 2. 3 times 4 is 12. 12 divided by 2 is 6. So the area of just the triangle is 6 centimeters squared. Okay, so this is my triangle. Well, then there are 6 layers of that triangle, right? The height of the prism is 6. So the area is 6 times 6. So that's 36 centimeters, and we know that volume is units cubed. So my answer, it's pretty simple, is 36 centimeters cubed. So this here is my whole answer, right? 36 centimeters cubed. All right, well, we're gonna shorten it a little bit. So we did the length times width and then divided by 2, and then we multiplied by the height. Well, remember the volume of a rectangular prism's length times width times height, and triangles are half of a rectangular prism. So it's length times width times height, and again, it's half because it's a triangle. 2 triangular prisms make up a rectangular prism. So it's just length times width times height divided by 2. So if we want to simplify this a little bit, or be most efficient, we could just take the base length times 4 times 6, and then divide that by 2. And if I just plug this whole string of numbers into my calculator, 3 times 4 times 6 divided by 2, we get 36, and that's centimeters cubed. So I just solved it 2 different ways. The first way, I found the area of the base, 3 times 4 divided by 2, and then times 6, the height. Here, I multiplied all 3 of my numbers first, so 3 times 4 times 6, and then I divided by 2, and I got 36. This is the fastest way of doing it, length times width times height divided by 2, but this conceptually makes better sense. So we're going to do it with another problem, and again, I'm going to do it both ways, so you can see both ways. So first, I'm going to find the area of the triangle, and a triangle, again, is base times height divided by 2. So to find the area of that triangle, you do 3 times 3 divided by 2. And I can just plug that into my calculator. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 divided by 2 is 4.5. And that's inches squared because it's just the area. So what I found was the area of this base here. So that here. Well, now there's 16 layers of that triangle. So I have to do 4.5, which is my triangle, and there's 16 layers of that. So I'm going to pick up my calculator, and I'm going to type in 4.5 times 16. And I get 72. So that's 72 inches cubed. So So that's one way of finding it. I just found the area of the triangle and then I multiplied it by the height, how many layers there are. The other way, I can do length times width times height divided by 2. And I can just plug this whole string of numbers into my calculator. So I can plug in 3 times 3 times 16 and then divide that by 2. So 3 times 3 times 16 is 144. And then 144 divided by 2 is 72. Divided by 2, and that's going to equal 72, and I'm not going to forget my units, inches cubed. So again, two different ways that you can solve it. You can find the area of the base and then multiply it by the height, how many layers there are, which is what we did with the rectangular prism. Or you can just use this formula, length times width times height, divided by 2. And that'll give you the volume of a triangular prism. So length times width times height divided by 2. I hope that was helpful. I added another video on here by a different teacher, so that can help you. And then there's, again, 5 practice problems for you to practice this new skill. If you have any questions or concerns, Mrs. Mariano and I are both available via email. All right, stay healthy and take care. See ya.